This is Ag Matters PM from the Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network, brought to you by the Iowa Soybean Association, your source for the latest Iowa ag news headlines right here in the heart of the heartland. With reports from our award-winning team of Dustin Hoffman, Riley Smith, Mark Magnuson, and Andy Peterson. Now, from the IARN studios in Des Moines, here's Dustin.
Well, hello, everyone, and welcome to Ag Matters PM from the Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network. I'm Dustin Huffman. Today is Friday, January the 31st, our last day, 1 month gone already in 2025. We're so glad you could join us here today. Coming up a little later on in the program, we're going to visit with Sam Trainor of agmarket.net to get our final look at the closing markets for this week. But first, we're going to talk once again with Iowa Ag Secretary Mike Naig and talk about agricultural issues on the federal level. Of course, we are waiting for the appointment of Brooke Rollins as the USDA's top person at the Secretary of Ag position. Also, what's the timetable for a farm bill and why optimism must go hand in hand with patience and realism? And of course, Brooke Rollins, the presumptive, obviously the nominee for the Secretary of Agriculture's position. There was a little bit of concern, was she going to be up to the job of agriculture, and there was a little bit of question marks around some of her policy and her involvement with the industry. She had her confirmation hearing last week with the Senate Ag Committee, now has to go before the full Senate to be confirmed. I mean, what did you take away from those hearings and the kind of the answers she gave to those questions concerning agriculture across the country?
I mean, I think she hit the mark on everything as it related to her confirmation hearing. She performed very well, I thought. And I think more than that even was the fact that by all indications, and certainly talking with our senators, Grassley and Ernst, they have had a thorough vetting process, asked her. They clearly are satisfied with her answers and things, especially around biofuels and trade. And, that's part of the process. I have not met directly with what the soon-to-be secretary, but I hear good things. And the other thing is, I think it's important is there's two things. One is I think she's obviously very well connected to the president. The president trusts her. She has a history of working in the White House and working on the American First Policy Institute. I mean, she's somebody that the president knows. She's got his ear. He's got her ear. That's important. The other is that as we start to see the ranks at USDA filled out with the undersecretaries, some high quality, very ag knowledgeable folks who people know, they're trusted, they're respected. She's making some very wise, I think, selections in those positions. Those undersecretary positions, the deputy secretary, chief of staff, the legal counsel. These are very important roles to actually getting the machinery of USDA to work. And I think she's selected some very, very good qualified people there. So I'm very positive about her and about the team that she's assembling at the USDA.
Now, of course, as we look to the new Congress, the Republicans have control of both chambers and, of course, the White House. That does usually make things a little more streamlined, but they don't have super majorities in either house where they can just push things through. There's going to need to be bipartisan support. But as we look at things like the Farm Bill and also E15 and things like that we've been talking about that have been seeming to be stalled, or there can never be an agreement between either chamber. Having, the new Senate Majority Leader, Mr. Thune there from South Dakota, having somebody that actually knows what a cow looks like and is not just shows up on a roast beef sandwich at a deli in Manhattan, that's got to be something that at least helps us feel a little more favorable while getting some of these priorities finally addressed this Congress, doesn't it?
Absolutely. Look, when it comes to making policy like this, seniority matters. Positions of influence matter. The fact that we have Senator Grassley with the most seniority in the United States Senate, Senator Ernst, very well respected. Senator Thune is the majority leader. And on the Democrat side, having Angie Craig and Amy Klobuchar, both from Minnesota, as being ranking members on the respective agriculture committees, bodes, I think, very well for Midwest agriculture, given the very strong voices, Pete Ricketts and others that, will do their job to carry the message forward. I'm confident of that. I think a little bit of a dose of reality is setting in on Farm Bill, where we might have hoped that we'd come right out of the chute and into those discussions. I know that's starting, but there's a lot of work that's going to have to get done in terms of the confirmation process, the omnibus budget package, the president's priorities that are going to be fit into that. The Farm Bill will come after that. And so it's going to take some time. But I do believe that when it comes to biofuels, when it comes to a voice on trade, when it comes to ag policy and fighting for those things, I think we're very well positioned as the Midwest because of some of these folks that I mentioned. So, the work is important, and the work, it can be difficult at times, but we need to be ready for it.
All right, Secretary. Well, we covered a lot of ground here for this month, and we appreciate you taking the time to visit with us. And hopefully, we'll have more answers and more things to talk about here in the next month that are moving in a positive direction.
That's right. 1 month will bring a lot of new action, and of course, 1 month closer to spring planting, which it's hard to believe, even though it feels. I think we're still going to see some snow in February. In fact, we kind of need to get a little moisture. I might be the only one wishing for that, but it's hard to believe that spring is right around the corner.
All right. Well, Iowa Ag Secretary Mike Naig, thanks for joining us. We appreciate it as always.
You bet.
And that again was Iowa Ag Secretary Mike Naig. We're going to take a short break and hear from our sponsor, the Iowa Soybean Association and the Soy Checkoff. When we come back, we look at the closing markets with Sam Trainor of agmarket.net. This is Ag Matters PM.
Iowa Soybean Association is driven to deliver for Iowa's 40,000 soybean farmers. We're proud to provide objective agronomic research, a helping hand with soil and water stewardship, and timely industry news powered by the Soybean Checkoff. Learn more at iasoybeans.com.
It's time now for the Ag Matters PM Closing Market Summary, your source for market analysis and settlement prices from the day's trade in Chicago, courtesy of the folks at agmarket.net. We're back on Ag Matters PM on the Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network. Time to go through those closing markets, and we're being joined today by Sam Trainor of agmarket.net. And Sam, finishing up the week, what did we see out of those grains? I know they were taking a beating to start the day.
Yeah, it was a very volatile trading session today, Dustin. Corn opened up gap lower. Soybeans were lower as well. Soybeans actually were able to recover midday, got up and traded 5 to 6 cents higher at one point, but then did retrace and go back lower to end the day. A lot of tariff talks going on today was the main story.
Yeah, we know that the president's thinking about putting some in place as early as tomorrow. We know with Mexico and Canada for sure. I mean, right now, I'm sure the market is just kind of getting ready for that in case that way Monday morning they're kind of already ahead of the game.
Yeah, for sure. The corn market was especially sensitive to those talks with the 25% tariff on Mexico and Canada going into effect tomorrow due to the fact that Mexico is the number one corn buyer out of the U.S. So, like I said, corn was gapped lower this morning, did come back. There was a report out right around 12:30 today that the tariffs were going to be delayed until March 1st. That was quickly debunked, though, by the White House, saying that the February 1st deadline still holds. And they also mentioned there will be a 10% tariff on China as well that will go into effect tomorrow. Of course, nothing's in writing yet, but definitely something that the markets, both corn and soybeans, took negatively today. And like I said, corn especially to the downside.
All right, then moving over to the livestock side of things, cattle and hogs, what did we see out of those markets today?
Cattle and hogs were, cattle, I should say, were very strong today. Hogs took a little bit of a beating here and finished quite a bit lower there on the April contract, down over $1. But the cattle markets, saw some weakness earlier this week. Thought maybe we were getting a little toppy on the high end, and then here come Friday and right back to the high end of the range. This market's just been one of those that can't seem to hold down. The fundamentals remain bullish. The cattle just simply aren't out there. Stocks are tight, and we'll just continue to watch these markets. I mean, I've been saying for it seems like months now that have to have some protection on here, and I still think that way. I mean, you can go out and look at some put options that are pretty reasonable, and it was only say a week to 2 weeks ago that it would have been an all-time contract high, and now we're $4 or $5 above that. So that's something I've been looking at for some cattle guys, and just would hate to have the rug pulled out from under you when we're looking at all-time highs like this. You want to at least have a little bit of protection there, because with these funds as long as they are, wouldn't shock me one bit to see them print some profits here and sell off pretty dramatically here to in a little bit of a short covering event to take some profit.
Now, is there anything in that cattle market that we're looking for as a future trend that maybe signify that there might be more cattle showing up? Is that going to be more once calving season goes, or is it something that we're just seeing producers kind of hold their own as long as that price stays high?
Yeah, right now, I think you hit on it there with calving season approaching. That could offer a little bit of relief, but the trend has remained tight here. The cattle just simply aren't out there. It's something that we'll continue to watch, but until something changes here, still it's kind of been put on the back burner. But the imports from Mexico with their screwworm disease that still haven't fully recovered from that. That was a story back in December that we're still waiting on clarification on that. So we'll wait to see that. That could have a little bit of an impact on these prices. But for now, trend remains higher and stocks continue to be tight.
All right, Sam, well, you gave us a couple things to think about. If folks want to talk about what their strategy should be and things they could look at for protecting themselves, what's the best way to get in touch with agmarket.net?
Best way would be to visit our website at agmarket.net or give us a call here in Normal, 1-800-779-1515.
All right, well, Sam, thanks so much for the insight. We'll talk to you again real soon.
All right, thanks a lot.
And that again was Sam Trainor of agmarket.net. Let's go ahead and look at the closing numbers on the Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network market screen. You can find that online at iowaagnet.com.
March corn down 8 1/4 at $4.82 even. Soybeans down 2 cents at $10.42 even. Soybean meal down $3.60 at $3.0110. Soy oil up $1.13 at $46.11. Chicago wheat down 7 cents at $5.59 1/2. Kansas wheat down 9 cents at $5.79 1/4. Minneapolis spring wheat at press time 4 1/2 lower at $6.15 3/4. Oats down 1 3/4 at $3.47 1/2. Live cattle up 12 cents at $204.60. Feeders up $2.52 at $275.72. February lean hogs 20 cents lower at $84.17. Pork cutouts are up $1.87 at $93.20, and Class 3 milk down 46 cents at $19.96.
And that's been our ag market recap, and that brings us to the end of today's show. You can find all our content online at iowaagnet.com. You can also follow us on Facebook, X, and on our YouTube channel. While you're there, subscribe and hit the bell icon, so that way you're notified each time we put out a new video project. Also, don't forget about our podcast tab, where you can sign up for free analysis sent right to your mobile device for openings, middays, and closing markets. You can also find the Pods of Potential podcast, which has been published just last week, and also find more at iowaagnet.com under that podcast tab. From the IARN studios in Des Moines, I'm Dustin Huffman. For Andy Peterson, Mark Magnuson, and Riley Smith, we thank you for watching. This has been Ag Matters PM.